I've given you 10 different types of situations there. And a lot of people, if they looked at all 10, they would come up with a score, an ACE score of 10. Some people, maybe you've got a 0, 1, or 2, 3, and the impact's been very mild. But if you're up in that upper category, then, oh my goodness, there is hope for you. Whatever you're experiencing, it can improve. From New Life Ministries, this is Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn. I'm Stephen Arterburn. And Going Deeper is all about taking the tough issues, the hard issues of life, looking a little bit deeper inside so that we can gain some insight into our lives. Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me for Going Deeper. The last time, our last episode, we were looking at these adverse childhood experiences that impact all of our lives. And I went through about 5 things there, and I'd like to continue that today. Once again, saying that it is important that we take a look back. And in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to tell you what we can do about these adverse childhood experiences, what we need to be doing if we haven't done it. And it's never too late to start. So, in the family, let's talk about an adverse childhood experience of being in a family where everybody is disconnected. They seem very distant, or they don't look out for each other. It'd be another indication of this. Now, when Dave Stoop and I wrote the book, Take Your Life Back, that's where we both discovered, after we'd been friends for 40 years, that we each had a time in our life when we just kind of said, okay, this family is too disconnected for me to make it my family. And we went out and kind of adopted other families outside of our own. I think maybe we stayed sane that way. I think because of the distance in both our families, I think that was part of our individual commitments to help other people. But it isn't just saying, yeah, we were kind of distant in my family. That has an impact because you've never really had a family. Well, it's a sick family, but you've never had a healthy family. And when you don't have a healthy family, we could say this, you don't know what it's like to have a redemptive relationship, where the relationship takes the worst stuff, helps you with it, restores you, heals you. That's huge to have that kind of experience, and you don't with a disconnected family. And then, was your family the kind of family where you could go hungry? There wasn't enough provision for you as a child. Your clothes might have been dirty all the time. And kind of the overall feeling was, my family doesn't have the ability to protect me as a child. Maybe they don't care about me, or maybe I'm left alone all day long because they're working or whatever. Hunger, neglect, dirty clothes, grass, weeds growing up a foot tall, things like that produce an impact that we have to recognize. And then, more obvious than that, did I have parents that were drunk or high? Because, they were using, they were either, you'd call them problem drinkers or alcoholics, or they were users, or they definitely were drug addicts. But whatever it was, when they were drunk, high, using, drinking, whatever, they weren't doing good parenting. They were literally escaping reality and expecting me as a child to live in it, while they were really weird, strange, unpredictable, sometimes even unable to deal with any kind of reality. And then let's just say that in your family, the biological parent, at least one of those parents, they were gone. Maybe it was a divorce. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just abandoned you and they just left you and the rest of the family. Maybe there was a death. But when other people had 2 biological families in their home, you did not. And you think, well, that's just the way it was. Everybody had a single mom, something like that. No, it wasn't just the way it was. It was what happened, but it wasn't something that you just get off scot-free when you're raised in that kind of situation. Now, here's another issue, is that you personally had to witness as a child one of the parents being abused. Perhaps you watched this person be hit or slapped or whatever, but you wept even because this person, this other parent that you had, you never knew at night what was going to happen, how they were going to be treated, the cruelty that was going to exist in that family. Maybe it happened when somebody started drinking. Maybe it happened when somebody started using drugs or abusing drugs. But it was really terrifying. And maybe you even, as a child, reached out and tried to save the parent that was being abused. What a tragic thing for a child to have to experience that. And then finally, well, I got two more. One would be one of your parents was in prison. One of your parents had committed some kind of crime, whatever it was, ended up in prison, and you were known to have a parent in prison. Maybe you even went to see that parent in prison, but it was pretty traumatic to be the child of a prisoner. Then lastly, someone in the family, you would have to say, was mentally ill. Someone was depressed all the time. We had a family member in our family who went to bed and sometimes stayed there an entire month in bed. Or maybe they were depressed every now and then. They were depressed. But somebody had a problem. Maybe there was intense fear and they just didn't even want to get out of the house. Or rage, anger was spewing everywhere. Maybe someone in your family committed suicide. Now, between yesterday and today, I've given you 10 different types of situations there. And a lot of people, if they looked at all 10, they would come up with a score, an ACE score of 10. Some people, maybe you've got a 0, 1, or 2, 3, and the impact's been very mild. But if you're up in that upper category, then, oh my goodness, there is hope for you. Whatever you're experiencing, it can improve. And when we get together tomorrow, if you'll come back and join me, I want to tell you what to do about those really, really tough, adverse childhood experiences. We'll do that tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for Going Deeper. I hope something I've said may have helped just a little bit. If you have a question you'd like me to answer or comment, just email me at stevesocial@newlife.com. I'll see you next time.
If you want to support Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn, be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And if you know someone who would benefit from this episode, be sure to share it with them. See you on the next Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries.